In this video we are going to be checking over this Minolta X 700 35mm film SLR camera equipped with the MD 50mm f2 lens. And the first thing we're going to do in testing it out is install some batteries. Now these batteries do not come with it, but I'm just going to put them in here for testing purposes to verify that the camera is functional. So here we get the battery compartment out and drop in two batteries here. Insert that in the bottom and turn it a few times with the coin slot. Okay, so now we can turn it on with the on switch right here. There's also an on with an audible beep, and we'll demonstrate that a little bit later. But first we'll just turn it on, and then I'm going to release the shutter speed wheel and set it at 1/1000th of a second. And now we're going to just listen to it as we step down through the shutter speed. So here's at 1/1000th, 1/500th, 1/250th, 1/125th, 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, 1/8th, 1/4th, 1/2, 1 full second, and the bulb setting where it stays stopped down and the shutter's open as long as I hold the button down. Cycle completes. We set this back up here and try the self timer. We do that by pulling up on this little control right there, and then we activate it by starting it. We can see the light blinking over here, and the blinking will speed up when it's close to finishing. There it goes. Okay, so we saw that worked. Now I've got this lens stopped down to f/22, and we can see the stop down preview button is working properly. And if we take the lens off, we can look here and see that the aperture blades are quick and snappy, so that's good. This lens features the locking aperture ring, which is used on the program mode of the X700. But if you don't want that, you can unlock that, and then you're free to set this at whatever aperture you want. But for a lot of use on this camera, you use with the green locked in at f/22 and the green lock position there. If we look at the focus, feels pretty smooth. There's one point in there where it's just a little stiffer than the rest, but generally pretty smooth. I do see a few little nicks here around the edge here. I don't know what those are from. They don't affect the interior thread. I verified that a 49mm thread will screw into this just fine. There's no problem with that. I did also open this up and look through toward a bright light, and I did not see any fungus in there. A little bit of dust, but no serious problems. If we look at the camera body here with that open, and let's set to that bulb so that we can just watch that activate there. Okay, mirrors up, see through to the pressure plate. Everything looks pretty nice in there. The focus screen looked good when I looked through the viewfinder. The viewfinder is pretty clean, and the lights along the right side seem to work as they should. They were smooth. I should have pointed out here the aperture follower ring is free and is sprung properly, so that will track the aperture set on the lens properly. Okay, if we go here to the top, you can see here's where we lift up to set the ASA, or as most people would know it today, the ISO value, set at 200. If you want to use exposure compensation, you can push this button and set to plus or minus 2, or various places in between. We'll leave it at 0. Over here, this has the shutter speed locks on the A setting to where you have to push this little button to release it, and if you set it on the P setting, it's also locked. So if you press the unlock button here, then you're free to rotate this to what you want. I had mentioned that it's got the on, the off, and the audible on. So now if we try to take a picture where there's insufficient light here, let's see if I can just simulate that. We hear that beep. That's an audible warning, and it proves that the beeping system works. So now let's look at the back. To open up the back, we pull up on the rewind crank. The door swings open. And now we should be able to look at the inside here. We can watch the film transport working smoothly. And if we look here at the light seals, pretty clean along this door edge. Little bit of stickiness up there, not a lot of material stuck on there. The foam is mostly here, and here it's a little bit sticky. So at some point these light seals should be replaced. I would say it's not absolutely necessary right now, but at some point that would be a routine maintenance. This camera is probably on the order of 36, 37, 38 years old. I think it came out in 81. One area of wear that we're going to see is where the strap that must have been on here at one time came and wore on these corners. So there's some significant wear through right there, and also on the other corner here. It is purely cosmetic, but beware that that's there. If we look at the bottom, it still has the plastic on here. It's a little bit loose and messed up, but it's a protective coating here that keeps that from getting all scratched. And it has provision for a motor drive. So I think that about covers this X700 and what I wanted to show. It's in pretty good condition, except for this wear here on the sides where the strap lugs hit it.